Hello, everyone. I'm Harley Carnes. This is Harley on the Headlines. You know, President Trump has got to figure out another way. Another federal judge has blocked his order of National Guard troops onto city streets in Portland. It's a temporary block pending arguments in court. Now, if you are looking for politics in the judge's decision, best look somewhere else. The judge is Karen Immergut, appointed by President Trump to the job on his first term. Now, the judge is right. President Trump is wrong. Everyone understands, and most people can agree with the premise that we need law and order on American streets no matter what the city. However, the law is also pretty clear, and it is incredibly important, that short of a national emergency, the government cannot send soldiers onto civilian streets, and certainly not to act as cops, even if the cops are not being allowed to do their job, the real cops. Putting troops on American streets smacks of martial law, and martial law smacks of totalitarianism, the very thing that the far left is in love with, provided they are the tyrants. It's also the thing that far-right governments all over the world, particularly in tin-pot third world countries, have sunk to, and which, to the embarrassment of this nation, have found friends in some past administrations. The U.S. has long buddied up to totalitarian left or right-wing despots if it keeps our power in place in a region, keeps the oil or other natural resources flowing and open to our big corporations, or just keeps someone we like less from taking power and upsetting apple carts. The U.S. is not alone in this. It is global politics, and we are not immune from it. We are a shining light on a hill, but it's mostly because we're the brightest, most powerful light on the hill, and we still have a modicum of personal liberty here in America. But that's been fading a lot. Putting federal troops on the streets without being invited diminishes that liberty, even while trying to preserve it. First of all, it sets a terrible, terrible precedent. It's quite a conundrum for a president who is not dictatorial, as the wacko far left likes to say, but who is taking a couple of totalitarian actions, as the wacko far right likes to deny. Look, we all want safer streets. We all need safer streets. We need everyone, from the president to students in grade school, to reread and study the Constitution, understand its construction and its limits, and abide by them. Democrats gave Mr. Trump the predicate for going too far because many Democrats, especially on the far left, are mentally ill, literally. Sick in the head with TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. If Trump wants to do it, they oppose it. If that isn't TDS as a diagnosable condition, then it is a political agenda that seeks to undermine and even demolish the constitutional republic that has been the United States. That's even more troubling. We have come a long way, 250 years to get here. We seem to be sliding downhill for a variety of reasons, and there is blame to go around. President Trump and his administration have had stupendous successes, but on this issue, they must find another way, must find a way to work with states and cities that want safer streets and will invite the Guard to help out, to shore up, to patrol hotspots, to help rebuild the lawless neighborhoods into places where it is safe for children to walk the streets unafraid. If a city or state wants and invites troops in, that is fine. It is as it should be. If a city or state doesn't want troops there, then Mr. Trump should pull them out and tell the Guard to dust its feet and leave them to their own devices. Then, and this is an idea that kind of just occurred to me, build up a new division of the FBI, which is more than just a bureau of investigators, the new division would be, but also a bureau of crime fighters who already work with local law enforcement and would have every right to augment the efforts of police departments wherever needed. It would help clean up the image of the FBI and would make it even more effective. It's just an idea. Besides, the FBI doesn't need to ask any local police department if it comes and gets involved in things. There must be a dozen other ideas available for how to get uninvited troops off of city streets while doing a better job of making sure the criminal element gets the word. That story, and the concept embodied in the Constitution of the rights of citizens not to live with the specter of a federal army patrolling the neighborhoods unless we invite them in for a national emergency or security reason, that's very important. We are on the edge of civil mutiny, of civil skirmishes in places like Portland. Won't be another civil war. There's just no way to beat the federal government these days. We have a far-left cadre who live far away in mansions with billions at their beck who would have no problem at all seeing Portland or even parts of Chicago turned into Gaza. It would serve their purposes. Now, if the voters of Portland and Chicago and some California cities decide to stand up and demand and support good cops, strong prosecutors, we the people, which means the federal government, should back them up in every way they need, as long as they ask. The immigration issue's not the same sort of thing. Millions of people from other countries, a long list of other countries, grabbed the opportunity presented by a feckless administration to come into this country illegally. Illegal. You know what that means. It is not just an alliterative title for an international traveler, illegal immigrant. It means law-breaking trespasser who comes into our country, any country, and becomes a burden, in many cases, on the economy. Immigration and Customs has a job to do. They were not allowed to do it during the Biden years. It is their job to remove trespassers and send them home. Then they have every right to ask properly, those trespassers, even though it takes time, and if their case is deserving of asylum, it can be granted to them. Historically, in this country and others, the idea has always been to monitor and, in fact, to meter the inflow of foreigners who want to live in America. All countries have temporary permissions called visas of various kinds. In some countries, green cards, permanent status, effectively does not exist. So if you put your hands on an ICE agent, it's like putting your hands on a cop. It can and should result in a quick trip to jail. If you are illegally here, it can and should result in a trip home. The argument that, yeah, but if they've been here a long time, we ought to just let them stay, that's hogwash. All it means is they've been breaking the law longer than others. If you have an employee who steals money from your cash register and you catch them, you toss them, or you call the cops on them. If you find out they've been doing it for a very long time, you don't say, oh, that makes it different. It's an empty argument. Is that unfeeling? Well, maybe. But it makes more sense to send them home and use the evidence of lives lived well, even though they were breaking the law at the time, to argue for a faster track to return. Most Americans could get behind that. We live by the rules we create for ourselves, or we don't. If we do, we, together, have a country. If we don't, we don't. We don't have a country, and we live in chaos. Ghislaine Maxwell stays in prison. The Supreme Court refused to take up her arguments that she should not have been on trial in the first place for her part in Jeffrey Epstein's long practice of using young women and some girls for sexual playthings. Maxwell acted as an unofficial madam in the enterprise, the details of which are still a big secret. Still waiting for the Trump administration to open the books on Epstein and have a big, honest show and tell with the American people. Let the chips fall. Can't blame Trump, along with the ongoing cover-up, not by himself anyway. Epstein's shenanigans appear to go all the way back to the Clinton era. Lastly, beauty pageant in Thailand, famous for gorgeous women. But these contestants are beasts, really, beasts of burden. Water buffaloes, which do more than pull carts and plows these days. They've become highly prized show animals, like in our livestock shows. They're also judged for their beauty. And kids, talking single digits sometimes, climb on the backs of these animals and race them. At least as brave as Gunga Din, these kids. There's another similarity between Thai and American cow and bull farmers. Once they stop transporting heavy loads and aren't so pretty anymore, they become what's for dinner. Well, that's it for today's Harley on the Headlines. I want to thank you for being there. I appreciate it, and I need you to help me grow the audience. And that's easy. Takes a couple of seconds to hit the like, follow, and subscribe buttons. Pass the word if you would. Please check out the website, harleycarnes.com. I am Harley Carnes, and we'll see you soon.